So today on Fitness, Feelings and Feminism, we have Verity.
Hello.
She's from Bath, as she'll probably mention throughout the podcast.
It's not my personality being from the south.
I think it is.
Okay.
So, I've got you on because you started off as one of my clients, and then I just realised that you have lived a life.
She's got 32 years of fun behind her, yes.
So, I thought we could just jump straight in instead.
1991, I was born, and it's just been crazy since then.
Wanted to jump straight in with the whole Prince story, because I thought, let's just get in juicy. I've changed my mind.
Sure.
We'll come back to mental illness. Let's go straight into the Prince.
Okay. So, I went travelling after university. I ended up going to Tunisia, the Arctic Circle, Dubai, and then I ended up getting a job in Abu Dhabi as a swimming teacher. And then I was there, had a little studio flat thing, and it was cool, but it was quite lonely, and I was single. I was like, let's hit up Tinder, let's see what Dubai Tinder's got to give me. And so I went on Tinder, scrolled through, met this guy, and he looks a bit like, have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No.
Not living life, well. But yeah, he looked like the main character from that. And I was like, do you know what? If he looks a bit like that in real life, that would be a good band to go meet him.
Okay.
So I swiped right. We started chatting for a little bit, and he said, oh, do you want to come meet me at this hotel? And I was like, yeah, sure, because in Abu Dhabi, there aren't really like bars and clubs because it's a bit frowned upon to drink. Yeah, exactly. So it's all in hotels and stuff. I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And he was like, do you want me to come and pick you up? And I was like, I'm not showing you where I live right now, sir. Yeah. I'll make my own way there, thank you. I was like, oh, no, it's fine. I'll get an Uber or whatever. Fun fact, you can get Uber helicopters in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
Well, I never got one. You got one?
No, I didn't get one.
Oh, imagine it was so much fun then.
Well, no, I mean, like, the concept is fun. Yeah. One would assume it was great. But then I was like, I got an Uber, and he said, come meet me here. I was like, okay, fine. Got there early. And I'd worn this like little kind of beach dress because I didn't bring anything else really with me. And it was
really setting the mood on.
Well, no, because it's all relevant. It's all relevant, right? So I'm wearing this like casual beach dress, and we go, and it's like swanky, like the Ritz vibe. It's like huge chandeliers.
Yeah, but I feel like everywhere. Well, because I went to Dubai for a week.
Stop.
In October, and everywhere's like. What could be potentially a shithole in Abu Dhabi is like a 5-star Ritz hotel.
Exactly. And that's the thing, because fast forwarding anyway, so I met this guy and we got on really well and it was lovely and we were chatting and we were on this like little beach bar thing and we had shisha and it was like through a pineapple, like the moisture bit, you know what I mean? They were burning it through a pineapple. It was so cool.
Is that relevant to the story?
No, I just like the pineapple bit. It's just fun. Anyway, and he was like, oh, I've got some cats at home.
Sorry.
What?
Now I'm imagining that you're thinking like little pussycat and he's like tiger.
Well, no, it's not a tiger. Really, let me tell you.
Panther.
Yeah.
Lion cub.
And he's like, I've got these cats at home. Do you want to come see them? And I was like, that's a great pickup line. I'll come see your cats. That's fine.
That's exactly how people get kidnapped, Verity.
Yeah, I know.
He's literally done that. Do you want to see my puppies?
Yeah. You want to see my house full of kittens?
You popped straight into the back of his van.
Well, back into the murk.
Oh, that's okay then.
No, it's fine. And I was like, I'll come home and see the cats. Yeah, sure. I really like animals, and so that's really cool. Like, I'll come see them. And then this guy came and picked us up and took us back. And I was a little bit drunk at this time. And this little woman opened the door and I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. I'm so sorry, I'm Verity. She's like, oh, come in. Went upstairs, did some grown-up things. And in the morning, I woke up and taxes. I woke up. I was like, bloody hell, this place is massive. And he'd gone out on a run before I even woke up.
I'm just shocked that I didn't think he'd be allowed to.
Well, very naughty.
That is.
Not allowed, yeah.
Oh, you little rule breaking, you little shrew.
A shrew. Anyway, I'm being a shrew and I wake up.
I'm being a Jezebel.
Literally. And I go downstairs and I'm like, fucking hell, this place is massive. And I was like, but maybe it's just like an Abu Dhabi thing. Maybe all houses are like this. I hadn't really explored much up until then. I was like, this might just be fairly average.
So she'd done no travelling in the town she's living, but did go straight onto Tinder.
You bet.
Today, I don't need to see where I'm living. I need to see the men. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I actually went on Bumble, the best friend Bumble. You know Bumble BFF?
Oh,
where you can meet girlfriends.
Because I have friends.
Well, I didn't at the time. Still don't. I have about 3. One of them's in this room. Anyway.
It's not me. That's
not you. Sorry. Went downstairs, really big. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And bumped into this woman. And I was like, oh, hi. Oh, really? This is so embarrassing. I'm so sorry. She's like, hey, you must be Verity. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, hi, I'm a name. And I was like, I don't legal purposes. Okay. I don't want to get into names. But and I was like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. She's like, are you okay? Do you need anything?
Was she American?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't you tell? She's American. I was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. Like, I just feel really rough. Have you got anything I can just borrow? I don't want to put this dress back on from last night. I look like a wreck. She's like, come with me, sweetie. She takes me upstairs into this closet, like massive walk-in closet. And it's like full of like Gucci, Versace, all those really fun brands I'd never heard of.
So what were you thinking in that moment? Because I'd be thinking, he has a wife.
Well, absolutely. And I was like, I don't know who this woman is. Who is she? And I wasn't really sure, to be fair, but I thought, hang on, we'll see where this goes. Mm-hmm. Go into this closet. She's like, pick whatever you need. I was like, okay. So she just gave me like fresh underwear with the tags on from like Victoria's Secret. Yeah, well, I wasn't going to wear like old ones.
So she gave me she washed it.
Yeah.
So she gave me some underwear.
Yeah.
My God.
And like makeup and like all this fun like branded loungewear. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'll put it on. Put it on, I went downstairs and eventually he came home. I was like, oh, hi, have a nice run. And we ended up hanging out like loads. Like obviously the options were, do I go back to my little flat with the studio flat on my own, or do I sit in this lovely big house with this nice chap and his family?
And his cats.
And his cats. I met the cats in the evening. And they were really nice. They were like Bengals and they were like...
Is that the ones that are like a wildcat? Aren't they huge Bengal?
They were quite big, but they weren't like...
Didn't take your breath away.
No, I mean, could have taken or leaving it.
Wasn't a tiger.
No, it wasn't. But they were pretty cool. And he was like, oh, they're actually like 2nd generation leopard. So apparently they were like bred with leopards like 2 generations ago. And I was like, they were feral. They were horrible.
If my grandmother had wheels, she would have been on mine.
Exactly. These cats were weird though. They were quite aggressive. And he had like little dogs, little chihuahuas, parrot, 2 like labs.
Was this a house or a zoo?
It was massive.
Zoo?
It was massive. It was a lot of pets. I think it was like 14 pets in the house at the time. And yeah, anyway, so we spent lots of time together. And about 2 or 3 weeks in, so it turns out this woman that was there was the prince's brother's wife. So she was from America and he married an American. Okay. And so they all lived together in this big family house, which sounds nice in theory.
No, it doesn't sound nice in theory either. Fine. No.
It was inevitably the demise of our relationship, living with his family. But yeah, and she was so nice to me. She'd take me out for like pedicures and manicures all the time. We'd go for really fancy dinners. Like we would literally drive from Abu Dhabi to Dubai for dinner. And we'd go to like Ferrari World for lunch in our, like they were in like their pajamas.
There's a Ferrari World?
Yeah, in Abu Dhabi. It's really cool.
Like as in a car shop?
Yeah. Well, it's not like a shop. It's like an amusement thing. And it's fancy. And they've got this really cool restaurant and you can watch the cars go around while you're having your lunch.
Okay.
And we used to go there for lunch and I'd be there like in my swimming gear, like little shorts and top. And what always like baffled me about them is they have so much money. Just wore pajamas all the time.
Really?
Just like baggy t-shirts, leggings.
To go out in?
Yeah.
I do think though, do you know when you see like photos of like rich people like Mark Zuckerberg, if you walk past him on the street, you would not think he had a penny to his name.
You wouldn't.
I was saying this to Zach when we were in Bath.
Yeah.
We were like, everybody looks rich, but no one's wearing a brand. Like the people that look rich aren't wearing brands.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you're that rich and you're just going for our world, you're like, well, we'll in pyjamas.
Exactly. And I felt really pressured. We used to go out for dinner and stuff, the prince and I, and like go for drinks. And I had nothing to wear, did I?
How did you find out he was a prince?
Oh, yeah. So, like 3 weeks in, we're having a great time. And I'm like, this is a very lavish lifestyle, but he must just be this. I had no idea what to expect.
Well, because, don't they have a rule? Not a rule, but I was told when I went to Dubai for a week.
Stop.
That, I don't like to talk about it.
Yeah, of course.
That every Emirati gets given a plot of land when they turn 18.
Okay.
So is that true?
Well, he actually wasn't an Emirati. He was from Lebanon.
Right.
So
There's
Lebanon
my first
is all...
error.
Pardon?
There's my first error.
No. I mean, obviously, Abu Dhabi is an Emirati
Because Emiratis are set for...
Yeah.
They are untouchable.
Yeah, literally.
In Dubai and for that week that I stayed.
Do you know what? You know more than I do, to be fair.
I've seen more than you did.
You have.
They just go straight to some man's
house.
hotel.
No, that is true though, to be fair. Like, I feel like you are definitely set for life if you're born into that kind of family. And he's from a Lebanese family. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's like horrible over there. It's like war-stricken. It's horrible, yeah. And that's why his parents are over there still doing their little king-queen vibe. And then the sons all moved over to Abu Dhabi instead. And so that's why... so basically his parents were still kind of financially supporting him the whole time. He was at university at the time, and he was told if he finished his degree, he'd get $10 million just for passing his degree. I was like, I got student debt.
I got a meal out at Ben Brazil.
Whoa.
So
who's the real winner here?
Who's the real winner here?
Yeah, exactly.
And a crippling amount of student debt.
Exactly, that I have not paid off yet.
No.
£40 a month.
I've not even got to that yet.
No?
Because I do my own taxes. No,
whoa! Loophole.
Joking, Kate Jamosi.
Well, when I went to when I graduated, I was like, what are the clauses that means you haven't got to pay your student debt back? And it was like death, moving abroad. And I was like, I can do the moving abroad thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like 10 years abroad it gets wiped, but I actually don't think that's true.
10 years.
They didn't fine me for a long time, to be fair. I only started paying it back.
Jason Bourne.
Well, what can I say? I was hiding. I only started paying it back like 2 years ago.
Christ.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
you found out he was a prince.
Yeah. So she was like, "Do you know who he is, sweetie?" And I was like, "No, I think he's cool."
American accent is killing me. You know who he is, sweetie?
I was like, "No, tell me who he is." She went, "Go and get his passport. I'll show you." I was like, "Okay, cool." So she runs into his room, which is super inappropriate, and gets his passport, and it says "Sheikh beep" for legal reasons. And I was like, oh my God, he actually is. I ended up kind of Googling him. I was like, bloody hell, so it is. And it was really funny because...
It's good that even though obviously you could tell that he had a vast amount of wealth, it's good that you didn't know before you started to get feelings and stuff.
And I think that's why the family took to me so well, because I never knew about the money. I never knew it. I was never like, I would always offer to pay for dinner. I swear. I was like, I'll let you pay my part.
I never knew about the money when I went into his ginormous house with Gucci clothes and
cats. Yeah.
several wild animals.
Oh yeah, and then, so I know there's a reason why I mentioned it. The guy who picked us up turned out to be his in-house driver. So there's a chauffeur that lived with him. And the woman that opened the door that night was a little maid,
Was she
was little. She was little. And so they had 3 live-in maids, a chauffeur that lived in the house too, and they had like quarters that they used to live in. And like, for example, one night we went out.
But she didn't know that he had money, guys.
I just don't see money.
She was so clueless to the
I was
money.
just so focused on the personality of him.
No, I do believe because you are a nice person.
No, I genuinely.
It's just funny
didn't know what
I
to
just
expect.
jest. I jest.
No, I know, of course. I just honestly didn't know what to expect. It was the first house I've been into in Abu Dhabi. I was like, maybe this is just what it's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went for dinner one night, and I didn't have my fake eyelashes with me. I really wanted to wear some. I left them in my flat, and he literally got on his phone and he was texting away. And half an hour later, the maid comes in. She's gone to Waitrose, fancy that, there in the estate, and bought me like 3 pairs of eyelashes. I'm like, just pick which one you want and you can wear them. I was like, oh my God, that's so kind. Thank you. How much do I owe you? And she's like, no, it's nothing. I was like, I feel really bad. But like, it was just little things like that were just really like, it was nice. And I was like, well, why would I go back to my own little studio flat on my own cry myself to sleep when I could be here.
Yeah.
So we were dating for quite a long time, then I found out who he was. And the funny thing was, so when we first started dating, I always used to refer to myself as the prince and the pauper. And I was like, wait, you actually were.
I don't know what I'd do if I found out someone was a prince.
I know, it felt a bit
Does feel quite fairy tale.
Yeah. Told my dad, he was like, this sounds like a scam. I was like, yeah, that's fair. Everyone was like...
Yeah, one of them emails. Like,
yeah,
is he the guy that's sending out the emails like, I am just trying to give people money and people just keep blocking me?
Exactly. It was very much that.
Okay.
But he was younger than me, a couple of years younger than me. And you could tell he'd been given money when he was younger. Like he had like these tattoos on his thigh and it was like the Playboy bunny and like needles and a fucking pill.
You can swear.
Okay, thank you. Fucking pill on his thigh.
Pill?
Like drugs, I guess. I don't know what drugs look like.
I don't know.
I would never know, but apparently it was drugs. I know you could tell he was given millions of dollars in his early years. And he told me he had like...
Do you know what? I feel like I could get past the needles and the pills. Playboy bunny.
I know, right?
That's the worst one for me.
Mm-hmm. It was quite prominent on the old thigh. But yeah.
Was it coloured in?
No, just black and white. He's tasty. Tasty? Ugh, tasteful. He was a handsome boy. I thought he was quite a handsome boy.
He was tasty while we're on the subject. I won't deny him of his looks.
Yeah, do you know what? Looked like Charlie Day. So
who's Charlie Day? Is this
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Well, what else has he been in?
Horrible Bosses.
The little fella.
One? Yeah.
Okay.
He looks a bit like him.
Oh, yeah, he's cute.
He had veneers, but the bottom ones came off, and so we had like little shark teeth at the bottom.
When you met him?
Yeah. But you know you don't really
see... He showed up to a date with the little shark teeth of veneers.
Yeah, but you can't see them, can you, when you talk like this?
But he's a prince, and he didn't get them fixed immediately.
That's fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Why don't you just ask him? Why did he get them fixed for his date?
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm sat here with half a tooth at the minute. I'm going to get them fixed. I wouldn't show up to a date with my little stubby teeth.
Well, do you know what, actually?
Not that I'm being very superficial here, but you're a beyond millionaire, I assume.
But that actually is like case in point though, because they just didn't like... I know it sounds super cliche and I've always said it afterwards, is that literally when you get to that certain amount of money, nothing else can make you happy. And like, although he had all the things he ever wanted, he had like the MacBooks and all that kind of stuff and whatever.
The Playboy bunny tattoos.
The tattoos, all the drugs, I guess.
The sex and the rock and roll.
I was half of that. No, I'm just kidding, that's gross.
You were the rock and roll.
The rock and roll, the rock and roll. But
you
like
the sex, drugs and rock and roll of his life.
Yeah. What a lucky guy he was, I guess. Bringing it hard. But yeah, no, it's disgusting.
Don't, my mother tries to watch this.
Your mother
she
attempts
doesn't know
to
how
watch
to.
this. Oh.
Yeah, she's not good with technology. I think she uses it as an excuse. But, sorry, carry on.
No.
Nothing brought him happiness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Look at me, you said
God,
it.
yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Like, literally, you go to the shops, they could buy anything they wanted. And I was like, well, what else, though? They were miserable.
Is there, like, nothing to strive for him?
Exactly. Like, the satisfaction of earning something you can't get if you've just been given all this money, you know?
Was he not happy then?
I don't know.
Not to talk too much about, like, I don't mean like mental health, but as in, was he fulfilled?
I don't know. I'm not sure, because he was only going to uni for the money, wasn't he? Because he only was doing it to get part of the inheritance
10 million,
and things.
yeah.
So I don't know. He was like a really big gamer as well. Like, there were times where we'd go to bed together, we'd both fall asleep together, and then about an hour later, he'd actually be awake and he'd go and game, and he'd game all night and come back and get back into bed with me in the morning to pretend he's been in with me all night. But I'm a bit of a restless sleeper, so I'd wake up and be like, it's not here, where is he? I poke my head out the door and you can see him down the corridor, like, playing games all night. And I'm like, is that all you've got? Like,
But I suppose it is, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's something that, like, I was already sitting there being like, God, I'm so envious of this guy with all the money.
Exactly.
But
you do?
What, like, it's nice to have something to work for, a purpose to get up.
It really is, yeah.
So what was the demise then?
Well, so we were going out and it was all fine. And then I did feel like his family were kind of getting a bit involved with stuff. And, you know...
Because would you have become a princess?
Yeah. Shaker, as they say. Yeah, I guess, technically. But Yeah, and it was all getting a bit too much too quickly. Like he said, he loved me after 9 days, and I used to just give him shit for it all the time.
Oh,
and I do
God.
think, in hindsight, he probably just like the family wants people to marry into the family. And get
How
them
old was he?
wives. I think I was maybe like 25 and he was 24. I think something like that. But all his brothers were married. They were already like wedded up, and they had these big extravagant weddings. And I think part of him just wanted to find somebody to settle down. And I clearly wasn't after the money, and I enjoyed his company for the most
And
part.
you were nice to be around, easy
I'd
on
like
the
to
eye.
hope so. Well, I was that back then. You'd be so
You
proud
are
of me.
still back
You'd be
now.
so proud of me.
Now, I
What?
mean to say.
Stop.
Such are my words, you
the hair tints.
little minx.
Stop. Anyway. But yeah, and I bought into the lifestyle and thought this could be sick actually, because he knew much I loved animals, and he was like, do you know what you could do? You could quit your job and I could pay for you to go around the world and do like volunteer stuff. And I was like,
You mean you wouldn't?
yeah. I was like, that sounds amazing. But honestly, the mental toll it takes on you being in that kind of family was,
Really? Was it that bad?
It was real tense. It was, you know, like when you live with a really dysfunctional family, it was like really tense all the time. And I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Like when, for example, when you go to at the mall, we couldn't hold hands in the shopping centres because we're not married. So we'd have to walk further ahead with the boys, and me and the girls would stand back and walk fewer like.
So I guess you're like deprived of normal couple-y
exactly.
things.
Like maybe I wanted to do some PDA in public.
Yeah.
Maybe I wanted to hold his hand, but like I wasn't allowed, and it felt weird, and it felt like the only way I could do it was to marry him. And I was like, I don't even know you. And then it would mean moving away from from England and all my family. I was like, this is all way too much, way too fast. And yeah, on paper you'd be like, why would you give this up? But actually, they were miserable. Like they were not happy. They were always fighting over something, always speaking a different language, which is very rude.
Yeah.
But no, it's fine. And now I'm dating a South African guy who speaks Afrikaans. So, but that's fine because I know a bit of Afrikaans now. But yeah, I know it sounds cringy, but I always would 100% take this life over that, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Like with my current, the next one might be different. With Alec, the love of my life, he's given me so much more than he could ever have given me financially. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would 100,000,000% take this life over that life.
Yeah.
1,000,000%, because there's a lot of things money can't buy. Happiness.
And I guess that's like, because I always argue that, I'm not going to lie, I'm obviously a positive girly, but when anybody ever says money can't buy your happiness, I haven't always agreed with that. I get that it can't buy you like love and your family members staying for longer, but I think it buys you a less stressful
definitely like comfort.
time.
It can make life
like,
more comfortable.
You won't be stressed. Yeah, and if you're more comfortable, you're happier.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's complete different ends of the spectrum. Like me saying that money doesn't buy happiness doesn't mean that I'm going to become a shaker.
Gee, that's the one.
And be happy, but you know.
No, absolutely agree. Yeah.
To earn enough to pay tax wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But no, I completely agree. Like, there's definitely going to be like a medium ground, isn't there, of being, you know, struggling for money and then having far too much of it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's amazing how much money has a part of your life. Every single day you think about it. And it's weird to be in that situation where we've never had to think about it. Like we'd go out and order whatever you want. We'd go out and we'd drive here and drive there and use petrol and all that kind of stuff that you don't consider that here.
No.
And it was bizarre and it was an amazing experience, but 100% would not recommend. So
this leads nicely on to me and you have spoke quite openly. I still remember the first phone call that we had.
Oh yeah.
Don't be embarrassed. I look on it fondly.
Oh.
Sorry, I just coughed down the mic. I'm really having an asthma day today.
Yeah, you okay?
But I remember like we spoke about like mental health and stuff like that. So I thought we could talk about that. Obviously, I've not put Verity on the spot here. She's like, who said not about the mental health?
I don't want to talk about my feelings.
So when would you say you first started to struggle with your mental health?
I think probably recognising it was a problem, maybe like 10 years ago, let's say. But now from then I can look back and realise that actually it was way before that. Like I think biggest pivotal part of my life probably was just before uni, maybe, which would be like 14, 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think it was it started kind of through the whole hormonal pubescent start. I think my hormones
That's
were
hard,
just
isn't it? I think
wrecked.
a lot of like mental health stuff can get overlooked at that age because
Definitely.
you do just put everything down to your hormones.
I had really bad PMT. I had really heavy periods, and I like would have migraines and all this kind of stuff. And I was inconsolable. Mum took me to the doctors and said, "What can you do for her? Can you give us some help or whatever? Deal with her because she's pissing me off, basically." And the doctor prescribed me fluoxetine and said, take it 3 days before your period, then don't take it for 5 days, then take one on the 8th day of your period. I was like, what?
When the moon is shining.
Literally, exactly. It was mad. And it made no sense, but I tried to follow the directions. And you know, periods aren't regular either. So
No,
I'm like,
they can.
what am I
So many
supposed to do?
things can change them. Like I've been having this conversation with clients of like sometimes you can be a bit late on your period, and then you start to stress
Yeah.
about that you've been late.
Yeah.
So then you're like delay it even more. Like there's so many. Like it's hard to just cycle it and know when you're gonna have it. Know when your period's 3 days away, unless you're like clockwork.
Exactly. And I was really young. And like I started my periods quite late, really. I think I was like 16, maybe.
Oh, that is late.
Yeah. And I was like, well,
And I don't mean to judge, but I always assume tall people start earlier.
oh, do you think?
And I don't know why.
Oh.
I was an early starter.
Were you?
I was 12.
12.
12.
12.
I know. I was just
gosh.
ready to be a woman.
You were ready. She was bursting out.
I'm still waiting for the boobs to come through, but I got my period at 12.
Oh, that's gross.
Oh.
No, I mean like just being that young.
I know. I remember thinking like I sobbed because I was like, I don't want this.
No.
I'm not ready.
Oh.
That's the story of my life.
Oh.
So sorry, your
sad.
mental health.
Oh, sorry,
Interrupted you with my
No, not at all. Not
with
at all.
my early period.
Baby Besson, Ellie. I thought. I imagine she looked a little bit like you do now because you're only little.
Oh no. Well, yes, but a lot more spotty and greasier
Cool.
with train track braces
We love
and
that.
a heavy side fringe.
I had a heavy side fringe too and black eyeliner for sure.
Oh no, I didn't wear makeup.
No?
I'm not like other girls.
That we know for sure.
Sorry, man.
Oh no, but then yeah, so that was like my first experience with medication. It was just so random and sporadic. It's like, yeah, this one this day, that one every day. I was like, okay, fine, I'll try. But actually definitely made me worse because I'm putting random hormones into my body and then having these antidepressants. And it was crazy. So I came off them and then went to university and then got a bit wild. She was drinking a lot. Like it was a
I
party
think
every
alcohol's
night.
the biggest like correlation between poor mental health.
Yeah.
Because I'd say I started struggling with my mental health. Well, I always say that I've always been an anxious person, but struggling with mental health definitely correlates with when I started drinking.
Right, yeah.
Definitely.
For sure. Because I think it's almost like you're self-medicating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because my thing is anxiety rather than depression, I would say. And it felt like when I was confident, I wasn't anxious. And when I was
When you
confident,
drink,
I
you're
was
the most
drunk.
confident, yeah.
Exactly. And it was like a party every night and, everyone else was doing it. So it felt really normal. And yeah, it was bizarre. And I think I was definitely covering something up, but I wasn't really happy. I was really anxious all the time. And then between like university to now, I'd say I did loads of traveling, which was amazing. And I felt like because I was so distracted, I wasn't anxious.
This is what I always say to people because you find that people, sorry to interrupt you.
No.
And this isn't everybody obviously, but a few of my friends like in the past have like been going through a rough time and then you suddenly see that they'll like decide to move abroad. And my latest friend has just moved to Abu Dhabi. This is not about, if you think this is a passive aggressive comment to you, it's really
Do you
not.
work for the United Arab Emirates? What promotions today?
Hoping for a free holiday.
Yeah.
But not her. She's done a proper career change. But there's people that like suddenly get that they feel shit about their life and they want to move abroad. And my advice always to people is like, no matter where you are, your problems will follow you.
Exactly, yeah.
And they'll just manifest themselves in different ways. Like you can't run away from stuff until you deal with it.
Totally, yeah, I agree. And I felt like the travelling thing was almost just putting like a little pause button on it all.
Definitely.
And I was so distracted and I had the best time, don't get me wrong. But when I got back, I felt like it was like 5 years of pent-up anxiety suddenly just like slammed into me. And then I was like, I don't know, 30 I think I was, or just under. I was like, I think now is the time I need to do something about this because it was really affecting me. Like I was like, I know it sounds a bit lame now, but there are days where I sit and I can cry for a little bit thinking that I put up with it for so long. Like I can sit there and think, oh my God, I was coping with that every single day.
I sometimes get like, I can feel a bit emotional, but in an opposite way, because I started going to therapy at the beginning of the year, and it's changed my life.
Yeah.
It has. But it's hard because you still have that negative mindset of, I think now, like, why did I leave it till now? Like, same as you, I don't get upset about how I used to be, but I think of like all that wasted time and energy.
Absolutely.
But everything happens for a reason, and probably if you tried to get help back then when you needed it, you probably weren't ready.
Yeah,
like, there's a reason
absolutely.
for why we go to things when we go to them.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah, and because I had to go through the ringer with it. What kind of therapy are you having? Is it like
Private.
CBT?
Oh, sorry,
Loaded.
just flashing my car.
I was
I
NHS.
am a Saudi prince.
Oh my God! Plot twist.
Don't come on to me.
Now, maybe later.
When the cameras are off.
Yeah.
But CBT works for me the best, because I've noticed that I'm not really the type of person that I can talk so openly about anything, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to just go and be like, so this happened when I was 5, and this happened in high school, and then this happened, and then this is how this makes me feel. I can do that to friends. No offense, I don't just dump stuff on my friends, but I don't necessarily bottle stuff up. I wanted to like, right, this is how I feel. How do I fix it?
Exactly.
And I found that CBT was the best thing for me with that, of like, right, this means this.
Yeah.
If you go away and do your homework, you'll feel better.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
what I found. What about yourself?
Yeah, so I went to the doctors about it. I was like, this is really getting to me now. I need to do something about it. I never considered medication at the time. I was like, let's do some therapy first. And basically the way I had to do it, because I went through at the NHS, is that you had to go like...
Oh, do you have to go to group one?
Yeah, you had to go to stress
that is
classes first. I was like, I'm not stressed. I'm
Yeah.
anxious. I had to do like, I think it was 6 weeks of stress classes. I had to go to fucking Liverpool every Wednesday night for like an hour and a half and sit there and watch a presentation with all these different people.
Yeah. I've been to like a CBT, one of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just... the only thing I took from that, it was interesting that there was so many different people from different walks of life. Old people, it was a half and half mix of men and women. It was really interesting actually to see all these people.
Yeah.
And they make you do a questionnaire every week. And I'm like, still not great, still anxious. Even though you've told me not to drink caffeine, I'm still feeling anxious. But you have to go through the ringer and you have to be there every single week. And then you do a final questionnaire. I was like, right, I'm still feeling shit. Can you please do something about it? And eventually you get like one-to-one counselling, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's like counselling still really what I need. I've had counselling from uni in the past. I've got my friends for counselling. I need something a bit more major. So I had to go to like 4 of those and just put the time in really. And eventually I got one-to-one CBT. And the woman was a thrill. She was gorgeous. She had these like purple dreads. Her whole office was purple. I loved it. And it was an hour every week. And I went and just spoke to her. Mainly cried, I would say.
Yeah.
But she was like that sounding board I needed, and with experience to say, actually, that's ridiculous. You're being really silly, thinking like that.
Sometimes this is exactly it. Like, sorry, I can't stop coughing. But I didn't want someone to feel sorry for me.
Exactly, yeah.
Because in my head, a lot of the time, I don't know what's an anxious thought and what is genuine.
Yeah.
That's what I think people with anxiety can struggle with is, hold on, am I making this bigger in my head? Or am I right? Is this a huge thing?
Yeah.
Am I acting out of order? Am I being, like you say, ridiculous? Like, I have been so ridiculous in the past. And it's nice to have someone to sit there and barefaced say to you, you are being ridiculous.
Yeah.
And also, I like that they will tell me when I'm wrong, when I'm the toxic person, when I'm being bad. Because then it makes me believe when they tell me that I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you can trust their opinion because you know they're going to tell you it real.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I think my main thing was catastrophizing things. I would make one little tiny thing this huge deal. I used to think the worst of every situation. And, she was like, I need to write it down. I think it was like 1 to 10 on the likeliness of it actually happening, and then 1 to 10 of how it would make you feel if it really happened, and then you fix it in your head. And so I was like, you know what? This is really, really helpful. I had that for 10 weeks, and then my last session was a week before COVID hit. I was like, cool.
How did you find COVID mental health-wise?
Not great.
See, I thrived,
Did
which
you?
I don't know what that says about me.
Probably
that was
'cause you just
probably the time I was at my... now I'm starting to feel how I did, like, lockdown Ellie.
Oh, okay.
Like, that I was fantastic. Obviously, I had down days, and, like, I think everyone had a bit of a sense of impending doom with lockdown.
Yeah, of course.
Because it was the unknown, but, I thrived. Why didn't you?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I think I was fresh off CBT, so I think I had a great positive mindset. But I do think I myself wasn't massively stressed about it, but I know my family were. My sister was working in A&E in the actual flipping COVID wards, so we're getting updates from her every day.
Were you stressed about her stressed about her well-being? And then obviously, because your sister works in A&E, were you hearing like...
You hear the real stories, Because, you know, people were saying that it was all a conspiracy, and as a family, we were furious because we were like, we wish it was a conspiracy, because she's literally in the wards. She's sending pictures of herself in hazmat suits, like full on like Monsters Inc. vibe, these big yellow suits. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? We know it's real. She's literally dealing with it right now. Like whole families were dying. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's one of them as well. Like one thing that I felt was I went... it made me grateful for my family. Like, not that I wanted anybody else to get ill or anything from COVID, but you become very like... I remember my dad was really lax on COVID and used to infuriate me because I used to think like, but I don't want you to get it and die, and I don't want that is my whole anxiety is around death.
Yeah,
but,
mine too.
I was like really fretting about my family's going to get it and either I'm going to die or they're going to die. And so I don't think people realise as well like the impact of the worrying for other people, especially when your sister's like, you can't get more frontline.
I know, exactly. And obviously my mum was really anxious about it because she's way more anxious than I am, I would say.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure. And so she would send us messages every single day like, you know, look at these new stats, how many more people have died of this? And I'm like, I appreciate this is your way of coping because she wants to make sure that we're safe. So all she'll do is she'll make sure she's doing all she can.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And I totally understand that, but at the time it wasn't very helpful because I was just trying to get through, you know. And I don't blame her for it because that's her way of coping. Yeah. But at the time I was like, this is really not helpful because I feel like I'm actually doing quite well. And then it's like, you know, I stopped watching the news. I couldn't watch anymore. But it was just like negativity all the time, and that's quite hard to deal with. But after COVID, a year after I'd finished therapy, they called me up saying, how you doing, babe? I'm like, well, not great. It's been COVID. And I know my last session with you was the week before lockdown. Yeah. Just like, how you doing? Do you want more therapy? And I was like, actually, yeah, I would love more therapy. That'd be great. And so in that time, I think we'd moved or something. So I wasn't in the catchment area for any more therapy. So I wasn't allowed anymore on the NHS.
What do you mean catchment?
There was like, so different boroughs have their different, like Talk Liverpool.
Shit?
Yeah. And I couldn't have any. And I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. I said, what do we do now then? And she went, well, do you want to try some medication? And I was like,
Yeah.
So I've never been against having it. The only thing I was worried about is I had that bloody fluoxetine thing when I was younger. I was like, if that's what it make me feel like, then I can't do this again. And so I said, let's try it, but let's do something different. And I told the doctor anyway. I told Maddie about it as well, and she was very much like, you know, the day to start therapy and helping herself was yesterday. I was like, right, let's just fucking do it. My mum wasn't that keen. I think she's worried that it would like dope me out, and I'd go all like, "Whoa, man, I'm so."
It's
cool
like when
now.
you see that stuff because with people with like ADHD and they don't want to take medication because like, what if I lose my sparkle?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's what my mum was worried about. But I was like, to be fair, it's
and
different now. The game's different now. Yeah. And so I went to the doctor and she put me on the lowest dose of sertraline, and I'll tell you what, it changed my life.
So I've never medicated. Same as you. I don't really. I'm not for, but I'm not against it. As in, I don't particularly. I think at the minute, I feel like I've got a lot more work to do in therapy.
Yeah, of course,
and like because I'm seeing progress with that, it's like it would be like the next.
I think they always say you're supposed to do it both at the same time, aren't you? Really? Because I think the medication kind of gives you a brighter aspect on life, and then you're more welcome. You can absorb the CBT better.
Could you physically feel yourself like getting better from the medication?
So with sertraline in particular, they say you get worse before you get better, and I certainly got worse before I got better.
Yeah, I think
was
that scares me.
Of depression. Yeah,
my mum got put on antidepressants when she was going through the menopause.
Oh right.
And it had one of the side effects because she was like, "God, I'm really not coping here. Like I don't feel well." And she read the back of the bottle, and it was like one of the main symptoms is suicidal
thoughts. Yeah, same here. And I was like, oh. Okay, great.
Yeah. How can, I'm not putting all this pressure on you. I know you don't make these tablets, but how can that be a side effect of something for people that
to try and
potentially already have them thoughts, like enhancing them?
I know. There was a lot of talk from my doctor being like, you need to be around people when you're taking them for the first couple of weeks. Like, make sure you're with somebody. And
how many weeks did it take it to get better?
I think maybe 2 or 3.
That's not, well,
in the long term.
I say it's not, long term wise, it's not too bad, but I can imagine them 2 or 3 weeks to be rough.
I was living with Alec at the time, obviously, so I knew I had somebody. And I'd never really had suicidal thoughts anyway. And I think it only really gets to you if you've already had those thoughts in the past. And I've never had that. So I think I was lucky in that respect. But then when I started taking them and I was on, take them every single day, it started building up. And now it just feels like, again, it sounds really like cliche, but it felt like back then was grey and now it's in colour.
No, I completely get that.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm a different person now at all. I feel like I'm who I actually really am, because I haven't got that cloud of anxiety all the time.
Well, it's like I always remember it was either high school or college, and I was watching an advert for depression, and it was a man. It was like a cartoon. It was a man that had a little black dog, and the dog would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it was like at first he was fine to walk on a lead, and then the dog was like pinning him down. And I remember being like, oh, that's how I feel a little bit. But I look back at certain times in my life, and I've said this on the podcast before, where like people would not, mine did change me as a person. Like I've definitely before now been like the worst version of myself. Like I look back at certain times in my life, like maybe just after lockdown, I was most definitely unrecognisable to who I am now. And I wasn't a nasty person. I weren't not nice, but I cringed because it just I wasn't me. Like, I look back now and like, it was so obvious that I wasn't okay. And I was just trying to persuade everybody that I was. But I feel like now I'm like, I almost feel like primary school Ellie. Yeah. Like, which was the best Ellie. I peaked in primary.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
As most people do. But you feel like you've got yourself back and you're like, oh, this is who I'm meant to be.
Yeah, it's
this
not
is
as
the
if
real me.
The tablets change you. It just literally lets you revert back.
Well, because it is just, do the tablets basically help with the chemical imbalance? So do they give you the chemicals to kind of level you out?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think in hindsight, I would have done more therapy and probably carried on with therapy, maybe did it like full time. But I do think eventually it would have had to have come to tablets, because I think some people have got the anxiety that can be quote unquote fixed with therapy, and some people just have that imbalance in their brain. I think I've definitely got the imbalance, because I literally thought I tried everything, and then suddenly the one thing that actually has worked was the medication. And I think it's so taboo, especially with like older generations. Like my mum was so panicked about me being on it, but do you know what? It's not like that anymore. Like I go to work and like half the girls are on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's what's so wrong in wanting to be happy, you know?
Well, that's it. It's like, what's your alternative? Like that's
be miserable and be like, oh, it's a bit taboo, don't want to take meds.
Yeah, but you know, that's life. You just got to crack on with it. Yeah. Like if there's an option there to help you and make you feel better, like
why wouldn't you take it?
Why wouldn't you?
I know. And obviously I thought about, would I be on it forever? I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't. If there's no long-term effects.
What did they say, like, so does your, I feel like I'm going to sound really thick, but does your brain never produce them chemicals that it needs then?
Or, I don't know. I wonder if it's, because they're SSRIs, aren't they? Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor?
I don't know.
Something like that. So I think it's something to do with your synapses.
Someone's got a sister that's a nurse.
Well, yeah.
The doctor, sorry, doctor.
But yeah, I think it's just to do with your brain being able to do a bit more functional things rather than like putting drugs into a system, I think. I don't know.
Because then I was like, would it be that if you came off them, because you have to wean yourself?
Yeah.
You couldn't just... So do you know why, because this has always interested me, why you couldn't just wake up today and be like, I'm never taking them again? Why do you have to wean yourself off? Did he kind of explain that to you?
They didn't actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I've never really had like an evaluation for it either. Don't know if that's bad or good. But
so this is the thing, isn't it? There's certain things which the NHS are, I suppose, lacking of where they could be on.
I think the following up, maybe sometimes. But obviously I've never gone to them and said, oh, I'm feeling worse or whatever. I'm kind of like, I'm feeling great, just carry on. Yeah. And I just, order them every single month. Nothing ever happens. I'm like, I'm on the lowest dose as well. It's not as if I'm on crazy doses or anything, but I think it would definitely make me, I would be really worried if someone said to come off them. I'd be like, I'm not sure if I can.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like addicted to them, obviously, but I mean,
no,
I do feel like
safety net.
I feel so much better now, and I can't imagine purposely taking myself off them and being miserable again.
Yeah.
Because it was so shit. Like, it really was so shit.
I think it's really good that you're able to talk. This sounds backhanded, but I don't mean it to at all, but that you can talk about it so openly, because I do think there is still a little bit of a taboo, because
Yeah, for sure.
I know myself, and this sounds awful and I don't want to get hate, but I know that I have probably been against taking tablets before, because I'm like, no, I should be able to fix myself.
I know.
But you are fixing yourself by getting the help.
Exactly, yeah.
So.
And I also was like,
Big up
medication feels
the
like failing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It feels like you're copping out by doing it. You're not putting the hard work in by going to therapy, but I did it. And it was really helpful.
And that's it. Like, if I'd have gone to a different therapist, I might be trying to get, but I'm just very lucky in the fact that I've big up Roland. I don't know if I'm allowed to publicly name him, because he's got to pretend that he doesn't know me in public. But I'm very lucky that I found the therapist that I have that just works perfect for me. Like, the exact balance of sympathy and get your shit together.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you need.
CBT. Yeah. But I know certain friends of mine that he would not be right for.
Yeah.
Because they need more of the like arm round, the more of the thingy, because we're all so different. So it's, especially with mental health, I feel like there's a lot of assuming that one size fits all, and it's really not. We're all so different.
And it's different, isn't it? Because I think when I did all these questionnaires, they tell you what part of your mental illness is depression and what's anxiety. And I think I was like a third depression and 2/3 anxiety, but I would never think of that of myself. I just always think full-on anxiety. But
well, it's because I always remember, I didn't get told the exact amounts, but I always remember I was told that I am anxious, which causes depression. And I would have thought that, because I know I've said that I've probably always been anxious, but I'd have thought I always feel the lowness first.
Yeah. It's like low mood, don't they?
Yeah.
No. But yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on. I know as time's flowed, I always get conscious of the time. I feel like I try to sneakily check my watch without the cameras noticing.
Heck.
But it's been an absolute
Thanks
pleasure.
so much
I think you defo have to come on again, because I feel like we've only just scratched the surface. But did you enjoy it?
Oh, the best time. Thank you so much for having me.
So, do you want to? Are you bothered about people finding you on Instagram?
Find me at Verity Saw This on Instagram.
But not student finance.
Student finance, do not follow me.
Student finance, she's going back into Jason Bourne mode.
Exactly, yeah.
So as always, if you have any questions or you would like to follow Verity or follow me, you can find me at LEHPT.
Love you, bye.
Boom shakalaka.